The Awakening. The Terran Confederation's diplomatic vessel Horizon glided through space with quiet dignity. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the observation deck, watching the massive Xilarian diplomatic station grow larger against the backdrop of stars. After 2 centuries of space exploration, humanity had finally secured a meeting with the Xilarian Empire, one of the oldest civilizations in the known galaxy. "Nervous, Captain?" asked Commander Jackson, her second-in-command. "Cautiously optimistic," Alina replied. 200 years of being ignored by the galactic community, and suddenly the Xilarians want to talk. The truth was less flattering than Alina would admit. Humanity hadn't been actively ignored. They had been dismissed as irrelevant. In a galaxy of ancient civilizations with technologies millennia beyond Earth's capabilities, humans were seen as primitive curiosities at best. The Xilarian Empire, with its 50,000 years of technological advancement, had particularly strong opinions about the primitive apes, as intercepted communications had revealed they called humans. This meeting was likely a formality, a patronizing gesture toward a species they considered barely worth acknowledging. Alina straightened her uniform. "Regardless of what they think of us, we represent Earth with dignity today." In the vast chamber of the Xilarian High Council, Supreme Orator Zorix examined the holographic display of human technological development. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of dismissal among his kind. "Their technological progression is linear and predictable," he stated to the assembled council members. "They follow the same development pattern as all carbon-based civilizations. They pose no threat and offer no significant value to the Empire." Council member Vex, head of military strategy, flicked his elongated fingers through the display. "They are adaptable. Their history shows remarkable resilience." "Resilience is not innovation," Zorix countered. "They simply persevere through brute determination, not elegance of thought. Their computational systems are rudimentary, their quantum understanding limited, their materials science laughably simplistic." "What of their colonies?" asked another council member. 17 worlds, all within 50 light-years of their homeworld," Vex replied. "The furthest, Nova Haven, borders our expansion zone in the Cygnus Arm." Zorix's secondary eyes narrowed. "That settlement interferes with our resource acquisition plans. We've indulged their existence long enough. Prepare a cleansing operation for Nova Haven. Make it thorough but unremarkable. We don't need diplomatic complications." The decision was made with the casual indifference of swatting an insect. Dr. Maya Chen adjusted her glasses as she reviewed the quantum stability readings on her tablet. The underground research facility of Nova Haven hummed with activity around her. As the colony's lead scientist, she supervised the most ambitious technological project humanity had ever undertaken, the Synthesis Initiative. "Dr. Chen, the adaptive neural matrix is showing unprecedented synchronization patterns," called out Dr. Elijah Kwan, her colleague in computational neuroscience. Maya smiled. "That's the 3rd consecutive stable synchronization. I think we finally cracked the code on direct neural quantum interfaces." Nova Haven had been established not just as a colony, but as humanity's premier research outpost. Far from Earth's bureaucracy and regulatory limitations, the scientists here pursued technologies that blended the line between theoretical and impossible. The Synthesis Initiative aimed to create a technological breakthrough that even the advanced species of the galaxy couldn't ignore, a direct interface between human consciousness and quantum systems. Not artificial intelligence as it had been traditionally conceived, but a true symbiosis of human creativity and machine computational power. "We're receiving an emergency broadcast from the orbital platform," announced the facility's security chief, Captain Diana Walsh, her voice suddenly tight with concern. The main screen activated, showing the colony's orbital defense coordinator. His face was ashen. "Multiple unidentified vessels have emerged from faster-than-light travel. They're not responding to communications and are deploying what appear to be weapons platforms. All colony personnel should initiate emergency." The transmission cut to static. "Get me satellite feeds," Diana ordered. The images that appeared caused Maya's blood to run cold. Massive, crystalline ships of unmistakable Xelarian design were positioning themselves in a perfect geometric pattern above Nova Haven. Before anyone could speak, flashes of blinding light erupted from the vessels. The facility shook violently. Emergency alarms blared. "They're attacking us," Diana stated, her military training keeping her voice level despite the horror of the realization. Without provocation or warning, Maya clutched her tablet to her chest. "Why? We've done nothing to them." The next impact knocked out the main power. Emergency lighting bathed the facility in a dim red glow. "Initiating deep shield protocols," Diana announced, activating the facility's most extreme security measures. Reinforced barriers sealed the research complex from the surface. "Dr. Chen, we need to protect your research. It may be all that survives of Nova Haven." The attack lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the surface of Nova Haven was unrecognizable. The once thriving colony of 50,000 people had been reduced to scorched earth and molecular ash. The Xelarian vessels departed without attempting communication or explanation, confident in their complete victory. They were wrong. 3 kilometers beneath the surface, in a research facility designed to withstand natural disasters, 213 survivors huddled in shock. They were primarily scientists, engineers, and security personnel, the colony's brightest minds preserved by chance and the foresight of Nova Haven's founders. In the emergency command center, Maya Chen listened numbly as Diana Walsh coordinated an assessment of their situation. "Long-range communications are down. Backup power systems are operational and can sustain us for approximately 3 years. Food synthesis units are functioning at 82% efficiency. Medical facilities intact." Diana's report was clinical, professional, but her hands trembled slightly. "We've detected no survivors on the surface." The weight of 49,787 deaths hung in the air, suffocating. Dr. Elijah Kwan, eyes red from crying, looked up from his station. "Why would they do this? We had no military presence here. We were just researchers and families." An engineer named Raj Singh, his face streaked with soot, spoke quietly. "My sister worked in the geological survey team. She said they'd discovered unusual mineral deposits last month, something with properties they'd never seen before." Maya's scientific mind began connecting dots despite her grief. "Resources. They wiped out our colony for resources. The Xelarians have always viewed less advanced species as inconsequential," said Diana. From their perspective, this was probably no different than clearing vegetation before mining. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity, for all its achievements, had been deemed expendable without a second thought. When Maya finally spoke, her voice carried a steel that surprised even her. "They judged us by their standards and found us wanting. They assumed our technology followed predictable patterns. They thought they understood human potential." She activated the central holographic display, showing the core of their research, the synthesis neural quantum interface. "They made a fundamental miscalculation," she continued. "They looked at our technology and saw what they expected to see. They didn't look for what makes humans different." "And what's that?" asked one of the junior researchers. Maya's eyes gleamed with a dangerous determination. "When pushed to the edge of extinction, humans don't follow predictable patterns. We don't develop technology the way they expect. We leap. We transform. We revolutionize." She expanded the holographic display to show the full scope of the synthesis initiative, not just a neural interface, but a complete reimagining of how intelligence, technology, and creativity could intertwine. "They believe they've eliminated a minor human colony," Maya said, her grief channeling into purpose. "Instead, they've created the perfect conditions for the most dramatic technological revolution in human history." Diana nodded slowly, understanding dawning. "They think they've won. They have no idea what they've just started," Maya replied. In the following weeks, the survivors transformed their underground sanctuary into something between a refugee camp and a technological crucible. Grief became fuel for innovation. Every resource was precious, every idea explored, every conventional limitation questioned. The synthesis neural interface, originally conceived as a research project with a 20-year development timeline, became their primary focus. Maya reorganized the scientists into interdisciplinary teams that shattered traditional research boundaries. Quantum physicists worked alongside neurologists. Materials scientists collaborated with psychologists. Military tacticians partnered with artificial intelligence specialists. Conventional research proceeds incrementally. Maya explained during a facility-wide address. We don't have that luxury. We need to redefine the fundamental relationship between human creativity and machine computation. The breakthrough came 73 days after the attack. Dr. Elijah Kwan had been working for 40 hours straight, pushing the neural interface to its limits, when he noticed something unexpected. The system isn't just responding to input, he told Maya, his exhaustion forgotten in the excitement of discovery. It's anticipating. Not in a predictive algorithm sense, it's genuinely intuiting where human thought is going. Maya examined the data with growing amazement. The quantum processors weren't just executing commands with machine precision. They were exhibiting something entirely different, a form of intuition that complemented human creativity rather than mimicking it. It's a true synthesis, she whispered. Not artificial intelligence, but amplified intelligence, the perfect symbiosis. By the third month, they had developed prototype interfaces that allowed a human operator to merge consciousness with quantum computational systems. The results defied conventional understanding of what technology could achieve. Problems that would take traditional supercomputers years to solve were addressed in seconds, not through brute computational force, but through a completely new approach to problem-solving that blended human intuition with quantum processing. The Xelarians believe technology advances linearly, Maya told the gathered scientists as they reviewed the results. They see innovation as a predictable progression. What we're doing here isn't just an advancement, it's a complete paradigm shift. Raj Singh, who had emerged as a brilliant materials scientist, presented their next breakthrough. Adaptive molecular structures that could reconfigure themselves at the quantum level, responding not just to programmed instructions, but to intuitive intent through the neural interface. We're not just building better technology, he explained. We're creating technology that evolves with us, that responds to human creativity in real time. In the Secured Communications Center, Diana Walsh had been working on something equally revolutionary: quantum communication systems that defied conventional monitoring. Unlike traditional encryption, which relied on computational complexity, these new systems operated on principles of quantum uncertainty and human-machine intuition that made them fundamentally unpredictable to conventional analysis. 6 months after the attack, Maya called together the facility's leadership. Though still confined underground, their resources carefully rationed, the atmosphere had transformed from desperation to determined purpose. Phase 1 is complete, she announced. The synthesis systems are operational beyond our most optimistic projections. It's time to move to Phase 2. On the central display, she pulled up schematics for something new, a vessel that incorporated everything they had developed. Not just a spacecraft, but a living system that merged human operators with adaptive materials and quantum technologies in ways that would be completely incomprehensible to conventional Xelarian sensors. We're calling it the Phoenix, Maya said, her eyes reflecting the holographic display. Because from the ashes of Nova Haven, humanity is about to rise in a form the galaxy has never seen before. Diana studied the schematics, her military mind calculating possibilities. They expect us to be devastated, disorganized, and technologically inferior. Exactly, Maya nodded. Their understanding of human potential is about to be catastrophically revised. Outside their hidden sanctuary, the Xelarians had already forgotten about Nova Haven, considering it nothing more than a minor cleansing operation successfully completed. They had no concept of the technological revolution brewing beneath the ashes, a revolution that would soon fundamentally challenge their understanding of what humanity was capable of. The awakening had begun. The revolution. 1 year after the destruction of Nova Haven, the Xilarian mining operation was proceeding according to schedule. The crystalline extraction vessels hovered above the planet's surface, methodically harvesting the rare minerals that had made the elimination of the human settlement a profitable decision. Efficiency reports flowed through the operation's quantum networks with perfect mathematical precision. Fleet Commander Nix surveyed the operation from the command deck of the oversight vessel Immutable Order. Everything functioned with the cold perfection that defined Xilarian operations across their vast empire. Anomaly detected in communication, Subnet 7, reported a sensor technician, his voice betraying the slightest confusion. An unusual emotion for a Xilarian. Nix's primary eyes narrowed. Specify anomaly parameters. Quantum fluctuations inconsistent with standard background patterns. The anomaly appeared for 3.7 seconds, then disappeared before resolution. A sensor malfunction, Nix dismissed. Run diagnostic protocols. Already completed, Commander. All systems register optimal functioning. Had Nix been human, he might have felt a prickle of unease. As a Xilarian, he simply noted the irregularity as a data point requiring additional observation. The Xilarian mindset, evolved over 50 millennia of technological dominance, had little capacity for genuine concern over minor anomalies. That was their first mistake. In a custom-built chamber deep beneath Nova Haven's scorched surface, Maya Chen floated in a translucent suspension fluid, her body connected to the synthesis interface through millions of microscopic neural conduits. Her consciousness existed in a state of quantum superposition, simultaneously present in her physical body and merged with the vast computational systems of Project Phoenix. Through this unprecedented melding of human mind and machine, she perceived the Xilarian mining operation not as distant sensor data, but as an immediate presence. She could feel their communication networks, sense the patterns of their quantum processors, understand the rhythm of their technological functions in ways that transcended conventional intelligence gathering. As Maya gradually withdrew from the deep synthesis state, the fluid drained from the chamber. Dr. Elijah Kwan helped her disconnect from the interface, his movements practiced after months of refining the procedure. How long was I integrated? Maya asked, her voice slightly hoarse. 17 hours, Elijah replied, checking her vital signs. Longer than we planned, but your neural patterns remained stable throughout. Maya smiled. It was illuminating. Their quantum encryption is elegant but fundamentally predictable. They rely on mathematical perfection rather than true innovation. In the adjacent strategic center, the rest of the Phoenix leadership awaited her report. Captain Diana Walsh had assembled a remarkable team from the surviving Nova Haven personnel, transforming scientists and researchers into an unconventional but lethal force. They have no idea we're here, Maya announced as she entered, still drying her hair. Their sensors are calibrated to detect conventional energy signatures and communications. Our quantum neural network is completely invisible to them. Diana nodded. And the extraction vessels? 7 ships, minimal defensive capabilities. They weren't expecting resistance, just a standard mining operation. Maya projected her consciousness-gathered intelligence onto the central display. Their communication protocols are especially vulnerable to quantum disruption. Raj Singh, now heading the Materials Development Division, examined the Xilarian vessel schematics with professional interest. Their hull composition is impressive, but fundamentally static. No adaptive capabilities. That's consistent with everything we've learned about Xilarian technology, Maya agreed. They'd perfected conventional approaches but never explored neural quantum synthesis or adaptive materials. Their technological development is linear, not revolutionary. Diana studied the tactical display. Are we ready for the first field test? Maya exchanged glances with her team. After a year of intensive development, Project Phoenix had created technologies that would have been considered impossible by pre-attack human standards. The question wasn't whether they were ready, but whether the Xelarians were ready for what was coming. Phoenix 1 is operational, Maya confirmed. The adaptive hull can reconfigure at the molecular level in response to neural quantum input. The symbiotic propulsion system exceeds all projections. Diana's expression hardened. Then it's time to show the Xelarians exactly what they provoked when they attacked Nova Haven. Aboard the immutable order, the sensor technician's confusion deepened. Commander, I'm detecting. I'm not certain what I'm detecting. Nix moved to the sensor station with growing irritation. Explain. There's something approaching from the planet's surface, but the readings are inconsistent. It registers as matter, then energy, then some form of quantum state our sensors can't categorize. Before Nix could respond, the primary communication array emitted a piercing alarm. Communication channels collapsed across all frequencies simultaneously, a technical impossibility according to Solarian understanding of quantum networking. Full defensive protocols, Nix ordered, though uncertainty colored his tone. In 50,000 years of Solarian military operations, nothing like this had ever been documented. On the main viewing portal, something impossible appeared. The vessel, if it could be called that, seemed to shift between states of matter as it approached. Its hull rippled with patterns that confused the eye and disoriented sensor arrays. It moved not along predictable vectors, but in quantum jumps that defied conventional understanding of propulsion. Weapon systems are not acquiring a lock, reported the defense coordinator, the first hints of fear entering his voice. The target exists in multiple potential states simultaneously. Nix stared at the approaching anomaly, his four eyes widening in sequence, a rare expression of Solarian shock. What species could develop such technology? The answer came through their own communication system, the voice eerily clear despite the complete collapse of their quantum networks. This is Phoenix 1, representing the surviving population of Nova Haven. You destroyed our colony. You believed you had eliminated us. You were wrong. Recognition hit Nix like a physical blow. Humans? Impossible. Their technology was primitive, predictable. Your assessment was flawed. The human voice continued, seemingly able to hear his response despite the lack of active communication channels. You judged us by your standards. You expected linear development. You failed to understand what makes humans unique. The Phoenix vessel accelerated toward the nearest Solarian mining ship. As it approached, its form seemed to phase between multiple potential configurations, each perfectly adapted to counter Solarian defensive systems. Target the anomaly with all available weapons, Nix commanded. Energy beams lanced out from the Solarian vessels, perfectly calibrated, mathematically precise, utterly ineffective. The Phoenix vessel didn't evade the attacks. It adapted to them, its molecular structure reconfiguring in real time to absorb, redirect, or simply pass through the energy patterns. When Phoenix 1 reached the first mining vessel, it didn't attack in any conventional sense. Instead, it established a quantum resonance that matched the Solarian ship's structural frequency, then shifted that resonance to a destructive pattern. The mining vessel didn't explode. It simply disintegrated as its molecular bonds dissolved in perfect synchronization. Aboard the immutable order, Nix watched in disbelief as a second mining vessel suffered the same fate. His entire understanding of technological warfare collapsed in moments. How is this possible? He demanded of no one in particular. Their colony was destroyed. Their technology was centuries behind ours. You gave us the perfect motivation to revolutionize our approach, the human voice replied, still somehow present in their systems. When pushed to the edge of extinction, humans don't advance incrementally. We transform fundamentally. Inside Phoenix 1's neural command center, Maya Chen directed the vessel's operations through direct consciousness integration. Unlike conventional piloting, she didn't control the ship. She was the ship, her thoughts translated instantly into adaptive responses through the synthesis interface. Beside her, Diana Walsh and a small tactical team monitored the physical systems, and maintained security protocols. Though they had trained extensively in simulators, this was their first actual engagement with Solarian forces. Their response patterns are exactly as predicted. Maya communicated through the neural link. They're trying to categorize us according to their understanding of technology. They can't comprehend what we've become. Through the synthesis interface, Maya could perceive the confusion spreading through the Solarian command networks. Their computational systems, designed for perfect mathematical efficiency, were attempting to analyze Phoenix 1 using established parameters. The resulting cognitive dissonance was cascading through their entire operational structure. Diana observed the tactical display with grim satisfaction. They're not just failing to counter us, they are failing to understand us. That's a more fundamental victory. Phoenix 1 moved with impossible grace between the remaining mining vessels, not destroying them but disrupting their systems at the quantum level. Unlike conventional electronic warfare, which targeted specific functions, the quantum disruption rewrote the fundamental operational logic of Solarian technology. We're not just defeating their ships, Maya explained to her crew through the neural link. We're challenging their entire technological paradigm. In the Solarian High Council chamber, Supreme Arbiter Zorix received the disturbing report with uncharacteristic agitation. The mining operation at the former human colony had been neutralized, not through conventional warfare, but through technology that defied Solarian classification. How could they have developed such capabilities? He demanded of military strategist Vex. Their technological progression was thoroughly analyzed and found to be predictable. Vex's expression was grave. We may have fundamentally misunderstood human innovation potential. The attack survivors appear to have developed technology that operates on principles our science has never explored. Impossible, Zorix dismissed. No species advances from primitive quantum understanding to superiority in a single year. The evidence suggests otherwise. Vex countered, displaying the limited sensor data recovered from the immutable order. Their vessel appears to incorporate adaptive molecular structures and some form of consciousness-integrated quantum systems. These are theoretical concepts our scientists have never successfully implemented. Zorix's secondary eyes narrowed in concentration. A momentary anomaly. Dispatch the 7th Battle Group to eliminate this resistance and complete the resource extraction. Vex hesitated. Supreme Arbiter, I recommend caution. If the humans have indeed developed these technologies, direct confrontation may be counterproductive. We should study this phenomenon before. The Solarian Empire does not retreat from primitive species, Zorix interrupted. Execute the order. As Vex departed to relay the command, a subtle concern took root in his analytical mind. Throughout 50 millennia of expansion, the Solarians had encountered and subjugated countless species. None had ever responded to defeat with such a fundamental technological revolution. What if they had miscalculated? 6 months after Phoenix 1's successful engagement, Project Phoenix had expanded beyond all initial projections. The underground facility had been transformed into a technological wonder that would have been unimaginable to pre-attack human standards. In the Central Development Chamber, Maya Chen met with the project leaders to review their progress. The synthesis interface has evolved beyond our original specifications, reported Dr. Elijah Kwan. Neural quantum integration now extends to multiple operators simultaneously, allowing for collective consciousness coordination. Raj Singh's Adaptive Materials Division had achieved equally revolutionary breakthroughs. The molecular reconfiguration systems now operate at the femtosecond level, he explained. Phase shifting can occur faster than Solarian sensors can register the change. Diana Walsh, now commander of the growing Phoenix fleet, provided the tactical assessment. The Solarians have increased patrols along their border regions. They're searching for us, but they're looking for conventional technology signatures. They still don't understand what they're facing. Maya nodded, studying the holographic display of their newest creations. Phoenix 1 had been just the beginning, a prototype designed to test their revolutionary concepts. The vessels now under construction incorporated lessons learned from that first engagement, pushing the boundaries of what was possible when human creativity merged with quantum systems. The Excelarians believe they understand us, Maya said. They categorize us according to their expectations. That's their fundamental weakness. The holographic display shifted to show intercepted Tellarian military communications. Through their quantum neural networks, Project Phoenix had unprecedented access to enemy plans and assessments. They're deploying their 7th battle group, Diana noted. Significantly more powerful than the mining operation we encountered. 27 warships with advanced weapon systems. Instead of concern, the news was met with anticipation. Each Solarian response provided new data, new opportunities to refine their revolutionary approach. They still think in terms of conventional warfare, Maya observed. Numbers, firepower, tactical positioning, all based on predictable mathematical models. While we operate on principles they can't even detect, Elijah added. The meeting transitioned to planning their next phase of operations. With the Phoenix fleet nearing completion, they were preparing to move beyond defensive actions to a more ambitious strategy, revealing humanity's technological revolution to the wider galaxy. The Solarians attacked Nova Haven because they considered us irrelevant, Maya told the assembled leaders. They're about to discover that underestimating human potential was the most significant miscalculation in their 50,000-year history. On the fringe world of Helios Prime, representatives from 17 galactic civilizations gathered for the annual trade consortium. Though humans had been granted observer status years ago, their contributions were generally dismissed as the offerings of a young, technologically immature species. Ambassador Chen Wei of the Terran Confederation entered the Grand Chamber with the same diplomatic smile he had maintained through years of condescension and dismissal. Only those who knew him well would notice the new confidence in his bearing. The Solarian representative, diplomatic arbiter Lix, acknowledged his presence with the minimal gesture required by protocol. Like most Solarians, he considered humans beneath serious consideration. The consortium recognizes the representative of the Terran Confederation, announced the moderator, a member of the ancient Voth species. Do you bring matters for discussion? Ambassador Chen smiled. The Terran Confederation wishes to formally announce a significant technological advancement and demonstrate its capabilities to the assembled representatives. Murmurs of curiosity and skepticism rippled through the chamber. Humans were known for their enthusiasm, but not for groundbreaking innovation. The consortium acknowledges your announcement, the moderator replied with diplomatic patience. What form will this demonstration take? Before Ambassador Chen could respond, diplomatic arbiter Lix interrupted. The Solarian Empire questions the relevance of such a demonstration. Human technology remains generations behind established galactic standards. Ambassador Chen's smile didn't waver. Perhaps a practical demonstration would be more convincing than a verbal description. He activated a small quantum transmitter that had confounded the consortium's security scanners, not because it was hidden, but because its fundamental operating principles were unrecognizable to conventional detection systems. In the space above the consortium chamber, reality seemed to ripple. A vessel appeared, or perhaps it had always been there, existing in a quantum state that conventional sensors couldn't detect. Its hull flowed like liquid metal while simultaneously exhibiting crystalline properties, a visual manifestation of technologies that operated beyond conventional understanding. Gasps echoed throughout the chamber. Representatives of species with thousands of years of spacefaring experience stared in bewilderment at technology they couldn't categorize. The Terran Confederation presents Phoenix 7. Ambassador Chen announced calmly. The first of our diplomatic vessels incorporating neural quantum synthesis technology. Diplomatic arbiter Lix rose from his seat, all four eyes fixed on the impossible vessel. This is some form of deception. Humans do not possess such technology. Your assessment is understandable but incorrect, Ambassador Chen replied. 1 year ago, the Solarian Empire attacked and destroyed our research colony of Nova Haven, believing they were eliminating an insignificant human settlement. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. Most species knew of the Xelarians' casual approach to resource acquisition, but an unprovoked attack on a recognized Confederation colony was a diplomatic crisis. The survivors of that attack, Ambassador Chen continued once the chamber quieted, developed a technological response that fundamentally transcends conventional development paths. What you see before you isn't simply advanced technology. It's a new technological paradigm. As the Phoenix vessel rotated slowly above the chamber, its hull shifting through possibilities that defied conventional materials science, the assembled representatives began to understand that they were witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. A younger species, pushed to the brink of extinction, had not merely advanced, they had transformed, revolutionizing their approach to technology in ways that challenged the fundamental assumptions of civilizations thousands of years their senior. Diplomatic arbiter Lix, facing the combined scrutiny of the consortium representatives, attempted to regain control of the situation. The Xelarian Empire acknowledges that certain resource acquisition operations may have inadvertently affected human settlements. We propose. The time for proposals has passed. Ambassador Chen interrupted, his diplomatic smile finally fading. The Phoenix fleet is now operational. The Terran Confederation no longer seeks the approval or permission of the Xelarian Empire. We are here to inform the consortium that the balance of power has fundamentally changed. As if to emphasize his point, the Phoenix vessel's hull rippled again, briefly revealing glimpses of technologies that most species had considered theoretically impossible. The Xelarians attacked us because they believed humans were predictable, that our technology would develop along conventional paths they could easily anticipate. Ambassador Chen concluded. They failed to understand a fundamental truth about humanity. When provoked, we don't just advance. We revolutionize. Throughout the consortium chamber, representatives of ancient civilizations looked at the humans with new eyes. For millennia, the galactic hierarchy had been determined by the gradual, predictable advancement of technological capabilities across thousands of years. The humans had just shattered that paradigm, demonstrating that innovation could take quantum leaps when necessity demanded it. The technological revolution had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Reckoning. Supreme Arbiter Zorik stood rigid before the High Council of the Xelarian Empire, his normally impeccable composure fracturing under the weight of the crisis. The chamber, designed over millennia to embody the perfect geometric harmony that Xelarians prized, now felt suffocating. The human demonstration at the Trade Consortium has created a diplomatic situation without precedent in our history, he admitted. 17 civilizations have formally requested explanations for the Nova Haven incident. Military strategist Vex, whose earlier cautions had been dismissed, maintained a respectful silence that nevertheless radiated vindication. More concerning, Zorix continued, our analysis division cannot explain how the humans developed such technology within a single orbital cycle. Their neural quantum synthesis and adaptive materials operate on principles our science has never successfully implemented, despite theoretical exploration over thousands of years. Vex finally spoke. Perhaps that is precisely the point we have missed, Supreme Arbiter. While we explored these concepts theoretically, the humans, faced with extinction, pursued practical implementation without the constraints of conventional scientific progression. The implications hung in the council chamber like a physical presence. For 50 millennia, the Xelarian Empire had expanded through the galaxy with absolute technological confidence. Their superiority wasn't simply an advantage, it was the foundational principle of their civilization's identity. What are the military implications? Asked Council Member Thix, Overseer of Imperial Security. Vex activated the central display, showing analysis of the Phoenix vessel observed at the Trade Consortium. Our conventional battle groups would be ineffective against this technology. The human vessels appear capable of existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making conventional targeting impossible. Their adaptive hull materials render traditional energy weapons useless. Zorix's secondary eyes narrowed, a sign of deep distress in Xelarian expression. You suggest the Xelarian Empire cannot defend against human aggression.